A little funny right now, but it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emily, you ready?
Yeah.
7 o'clock, we'll now call the Carbondale City Council meeting to order. First we'll rise, face the flag, and pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll discussion of the meeting minutes from August 3rd, 2026.
I have one correction, and Dustin can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the approval to replace the scale was not to exceed 2,000, not 12. 2,002. Yeah. And that's on the second page for the bottom. That needs to be a correction.
Anybody see anything else?
Other than there was a redundant, like you started to say something and then said the same thing again, and I can't find it now.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Because it's not a big deal. It's just more words than it needed to be.
No. Anybody else? Somebody else take action?
I move we accept or approve the council meeting minutes from August 3rd, 2026 with corrections.
Second.
Motion been made by Ron, second by John. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All in favor, motion carried. Next on tonight's agenda is a write-in of a citizen complaint for public comment.
Yes, that's the page that looks like this. It was just an incident that happened out here on Main Street, some concerns with the step up that's out there, which is something that we're looking at improving with the Main Street project. So I just wanted to bring it to council that we did have that treatment.
I know that in there it did mention something about the possibility of a temporary aluminum ramp. Is that something that could be plausible until improvements are made? Or is that some kind of a?
The handicap spot and entrance is on the east side, but it is down a little ways, and that's the only one we have, so.
There's
The only problem with the
one out
ramp-
here, and there was supposed to be one at the other end that was there a long time ago, but the sign is gone.
And the only problem with the ramp
Yeah, but-
is it's gonna extend out into the parking spots.
Yes, you would lose probably
So
two parking spots.
I got you. But it's already limited parking out there right now, so.
I mean, they could park up here too and go down the sidewalk a little bit,
Yeah.
it's just a little further to travel.
This incident happened on election day, and so these spots up here probably weren't available
Yeah.
when they come down. That's what the issue was. She tried to come up that stuff to go vote and misstepped, fell.
No, I understand the what had happened, but what I'm saying is the other solution to that aluminum ramp would be not necessarily this handicapped up here, it'd be all these spots up here where you have a flat surface and you can get down to the building,
That's true.
is what I mean. Like I said, you may have to travel a little faster, but I think with the whole road improvements, I'm looking to actually get rid of that huge curb and make it a pretty smooth transition.
Yeah, we'll have some more insight
Overall.
later with Sasha, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll know more on that. Okay. The next one is the Amanda's here with the city pool concerns. Before we get into that though, was this sent to park committee before it got sent to us?
No,
Okay.
from reading it, I believe she had reached out to the pool manager.
I got you.
Yeah, I've had conversations with the pool manager. I tried to look when the next rec, I wasn't sure where to go with this, so I tried to, I just did a little research and tried to look up when the next rec meeting was. I just had troubles finding it. I was off work today, so I just thought,
It's,
start
And-
here.
In the short time that, that this was brought up to the council, as far as I know, it came out today around noonish or something to you guys. I know that Ron reached out to Brad and, Brooke, right, yes, Brooke. They weren't made aware of it yet, and so I think the right channel, obviously with council's guidance, would be to push it back through
Okay,
rec and let them
Yes.
deal
Rec,
with it
rec
first.
would be, the pool managers, the pool staff. Rec would be their direct supervisor.
okay,
Since they do
They're
have their
hired
own
through them.
board and stuff like that. And
okay.
then if you don't feel things are resolved through there, then obviously we would be the next channel.
so,
Okay.
I did a little bit of due diligence myself, AJ. And their meetings are every Wednesday,
Okay,
or every first Wednesday of the
Yes.
month
Yeah.
at 7 p.m. And then, it's on their Facebook if you need cause I may be saying it wrong. But I also went ahead and reached out to the 3 rec people as well, just to, I don't know, try it myself. But here's some of the public information that they actually gave me.
okay,
As far as a lot of your questions on there was like public record sort of thing. So I kind of just printed some stuff off
perfect, thank
for
you.
your information.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
Was that just copies of public records?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's copies of our ordinances as far as
Okay.
what the rec commission, what their responsibility is, their powers and all that stuff. And then it's also, the rec commission's, what is that title on there, miss?
The swimming pool staff manual one?
Yeah, that one, they had said that they sent it to us, but maybe there was some kind of miscommunication, they said they had sent it last year, but
Thank you. I just wanted to note it as far as what you're getting.
sure, yeah, that's all that is.
Okay,
Just- It's public information.
So yeah, I think, if we can, obviously, council agrees, I think direct it back towards them and have
there
their,
were a few things in here I felt like were more city council stuff. Can I still talk about that or?
was it the questions like as far as like budget and stuff like that, or?
No, as far as like, does the community, like, I understand the other stuff I'll discuss with Park and Rec, but just for the process, just, my goal today was just to gain knowledge, so I can
I got you.
have accurate information to share with the community. It just seemed like the Facebook posts and stuff blew up and there was a lot of what I perceived to be inaccurate. I could be wrong, so I'm trying to gain knowledge. But just to actually get accurate information of the proper process and procedure to handle things, so I can share that with other community members. But one of those was just like, it's the community as far as like, with major decisions, I get smaller ones, but like I mentioned, the pool, admission rate, the changes to the minimum number of kids, those types of things, but are those discussed with the community? Does that come to city council? Do you guys have any say in that as far as our elected people? Which are major
They build-
decisions
they
that
build
are,
their own budget.
Yeah, the
Okay.
rec, builds out their own policies and procedures.
okay, so it's all within
When
their
it
department.
when it comes to like the ball diamonds in the pool, that's all under their umbrella.
Okay,
So
so it's kind of
we leave it-
separate.
Yeah, they create their own policies and everything. We, correct me if I'm wrong, we will handle more of like budgetary items. If they need money for
Like big
this or
dollar
that, like repairs or something like that, then
Unexpected.
that's where they would come to us.
Okay,
And
alright.
that's
I
where
didn't
they're
know that.
asked to come in and,
But
discuss it with us.
doesn't the city provide money to the pool as far as like chemicals and maintenance and
The,
running of the pumps and stuff of that nature?
I believe.
I think we
this-
buy it, but it
Yes.
comes out of their budget still, doesn't it, Dustin? Aren't you the one that picks up chemicals?
They're at
It
the
comes-
check out of
I
the.
pick it, but I don't know where they pull the money from.
I got you,
There's a rec budget with the city.
I got you.
We don't make procedural decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how I felt when I got some of the information, like, I've been to a few council meetings and stuff, and I appreciate all you guys, I respect all you guys and the decisions you make, but I'm like, I feel like if it's a community need and it's being presented, appropriately, that, and it makes sense that often you guys would approve this, for like new chairs for the pool, stuff like that, so I was just making sure that that's not through this
Well,
process.
and while they were saying the rec committee makes most of those decisions, I do not disagree with a lot of the things that you said. So like if I buy a pool pass and I work, don't get back in town until 4, and I decide at 5 o'clock that I wanna go up and go swimming, I bought a pool pass.
Yeah.
But yet they decide to close the pool for the day, then how am I supposed to get the value for the
Yeah.
pass that I bought for the year?
Yeah,
I don't necessarily agree with that. In my opinion, they've got set hours, they should be open from 1 to 7.
yeah,
That's my opinion.
No, and I will say that in this day and age, things get blown up way out of proportion online. 20, 30 years ago, I remember the pool closing for all day due to weather or whatever it is. A couple hours later, the sun is shining, and we just go about our business. I completely understand the frustration with the closing and things like that, but we kind of have to both operate in a way of kind of understanding each other, so to say, right?
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
I hear that.
I know that, Ron's discussion with Brad and Brooke, they're definitely, wanting to look this over.
Okay,
And they were sent copies, look this over, and they definitely want to take care of it or address it
Okay.
with, if you have the, still have concern, you want to talk to them.
I'll do my best to get to one of their meetings. As far as like requesting like financial records, stuff like that, it was point out here, all financial records of the rec commission shall be audited. And amendments thereof, and a copy of such an annual audit report shall be filed with the governing body of the city. So do I go through just the city for that, or does that go to the rec department?
Does that come into City Hall, right?
That's a record request.
Okay.
Treasurer has that.
Okay,
Sorry, Sasha, that's okay.
So I was under the impression that the rec commission is not large enough to fall under that, but then again, Mr. Barnes, I may be wrong. To be audited,
I'd
you'd have to
look.
look. Okay.
alright. I appreciate your guys' time.
It would fall under part of the city, so when the city audit's done, it would fall under that, wouldn't it?
Separate.
They are separate, totally separate.
Yeah, they turn in their own budget on their own and everything, I think.
Yeah,
But they
I know
do
they
have-
turn it in to us. They approve their budget, they bring it to us, we approve it, pass it on to the county, is what the way I.
But at a previous council meeting here lately, we requested an audit from them, so we should have one coming up.
Alrighty. Yes?
You just said that, so they approve their budget and then they present it to you, so are all council members aware, are you guys aware of what is in their budget? Like, do you guys take the time to overlook their budget?
I don't think they hand it directly to us, they give it to our treasurer, who then reviews it before it's passed on to the county.
They submit it to the county.
So the council doesn't have to approve that budget at all, even though you guys allocate funds from the city for parts of the rec such as,
They're separate taxing authority.
They have their own board and
I thought they were like the library turns theirs into us, don't they? To the treasurer,
We get a copy of it, but they turn
we
it
just
into
get
the
a copy of
county.
it, okay, I thought, when it, I guess.
Yeah, we just get a copy.
so if they have their own budget, then why is the city putting funds towards the rec if it is its own budget?
what funds.
Well, you guys get the pool stuff, correct?
Well, I
Right.
asked about that. Dustin does pick it up, but Emily said that she pays it out of the budget for the pool here. She
But
just
he's
writes
a
the
city
check.
employee, so who's paying his time to go get those things? That would be a city thing. So if the rec has its own funds and its own budget, why is it using city employees to run errands for
Well,
the
the
rec?
city owns the real estate. The city continues to own all the parks, the pool, all of the infrastructure.
The infrastructure, but not the water that is being maintained. Why is that not a part of the rec budget? Why is the
It's
city?
probably part of the rec budget, but if there's not a cooperation amongst the city and the recreation commission, you're not gonna have a lot of the amenities. Because frankly, it takes the community cooperating in order for those to work.
The short answer to that is, for them to have a Dustin on staff up there, your price for admission just quadrupled.
Well, the price of admission already went up 40%,
All
so.
right, now take that 340%.
And I'm not saying the city shouldn't work with them.
$60,000 to work on that pool, rather than the guy we already have on staff.
And I'm not saying the city should not work with the pool, but the information should be more accessible. Because I tried to get online and kind of look at some of the stuff and I couldn't find it. And even some of the rules that were being said, you can't find that stuff online.
The ordinance are on our website. Those ordinances are posted on our website.
Okay.
And I mean, honestly, the rec commission, it is sort of a public service. You know what I mean? So, I mean, some of the tax dollars that we give them is for you guys. So we pay for that a little bit. A little bit of money is allocated to them.
So years ago, and I don't know how many years ago, but, the prior council, and I think they even put it to a public vote on a 0.5 or 1% sales tax increase in the city to redo the pool. So it's like when Holly and I were kids, the pool didn't look like that.
No.
You know, and so some of that tax money or that revenue from that sales tax increase that they did several years ago goes to that budget for the rec commission.
I was just
Does that make sense?
I thought it was more personal property tax, that was a percentage of that, but sales tax is 1% for here to run that pool. Which allocate, I mean, it's a good amount of money a year, that's the sales tax to operate,
And
and that's separate from the
And the reason they
improvements
did
and
the
what was
sales,
approved
the
there.
reason they did the sales tax is as opposed to the property tax, because if you do a property tax, then only the citizens in the city pay for that. So if you do a sales tax, then anybody that's traveling the highway
Okay,
and stops at Casey's to buy something, or stops at the grocery store, or stops at Dollar General, they are all contributing to that fund. Make sense?
that does make sense, yeah.
So that's why they did it that way. And I don't remember, and again, I mean, this is like my third meeting. I'm not new to the council and I'm learning, just as much as everybody else. But I know several years ago, and like I said, I don't remember if it was a 0.5% or 1%, but they did do us, and they put it to, I think, a public vote, and it passed to redo the pool. And so, and how long that lasts or whatever, I don't know. And when they normally do that, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, they normally do something like that, it's like 1% for 5 years to cover the cost or whatever.
There typically is a sunset.
Yeah. And so
But
how long that
sometimes those are
was,
extended.
I don't know.
Okay,
But I know that they did something like that several years ago to remodel the pool. Now, I also understand that, the bathhouse and stuff is in, pretty rough shape. I think it's probably still the original from where it was originally built. It probably needs to be addressed. Again, that's something you're gonna have to take to the rec commission.
And I'll address your concern with the price increase, because as a mom myself, it's frustrating when I paid $60 last year and I paid almost $100 this year.
Mhm.
I paid almost $100 and my daughter has went once this summer, and that's her choice. But at the same time, I won't be paying for one next year. But I also will say, outside of my council membership or council, whatever it is, I was a assistant manager over the summer on the concession stand. And the concessions, the stuff that they get at Sam's Club, the bunch of 30-pack, 50-pack, whatever it is, candy bars, the full size, they went from $19 3 years ago to $50. So, and Nicole Hudgens, she has fought for a long time to try to keep the prices low so the kids can actually eat.
That's Ron's step or daughter. Okay.
Yeah, Ron's family. But I know it's frustrating to have a price increase. But we are also on the other end trying to keep stuff low as well for families. I mean, in Topeka, I just talked to somebody earlier that's a patron of the pools in Topeka, and it's $13 a pop, a person up there to go.
North Aquatic is still 7.
I don't even go up
I
there.
think it depends on which.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
I
North
didn't go
Aquatic
up there.
is one of the biggest pools in Topeka.
Okay.
And I get a price increase to an extent, but if the city is working with the rec for, you know, with the fees and everything, pools are meant for public relations pretty much. It's not something that you're supposed to make a huge profit off of. So for such an increase of 40% is outrageous for some families. My kids have a pass, but I mean, if you're considering all kids, and I think AJ looked it up, the median income for this community, I mean, it's just $5
Sure.
a day is outrageous. And then when you're saying things like we have to have 10 kids come, but also not working to make, like, what are the goal? Like, if we're not having 10
Sure.
kids come, what do we need to do to be able to have those 10 people come? Is
Right.
it offer a discounted rate back down to the $3 for the first 10 patrons? Are the kids that have pool passes, are they counted in that 10, or are they just doing 10 additional?
Sure.
But if there's days that they say, and it was said online that there's days where they were busy, why aren't those days paying for the other days that they're slow? I mean, because, and I get, if it's not your guys' budget, it's not your budget, but that does sound like a budgeting issue, because the funds should be allocated for the lifeguards for X amount of days, and they were supposed to be open 78, but then it ended up being 61. So you have that difference in days
Right.
of where, well, we didn't use the funds to pay lifeguards then, so why aren't the funds being used on the slow days?
And on the flip side of that, though, what I'm saying is even as a family, when your costs go up, your income needs to go up, or you need to cut costs.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what I'm saying is from their point of view, when their costs are going up, they've got to increase something, either cost of concessions or cost of admissions.
Yes and
Well,
no,
this
because
is more of a rec department though conversation.
Oh, sure.
So I think we should.
is there a
turn
city
it back to
official that is, what's the word I'm looking for? That is a
liaison.
representative from the city to deal with the rec department. Do you guys have a certain city? It sounds like Holly
Like
is
a
kind of already
liaison?
taken
No,
over that, but
Liaison.
It is supposed to be the rec department's duty to bring their minutes and go over their meetings with us.
is that
They don't
happening?
do that monthly at this point. I think we've got them
It's been encouraged.
It's in a process.
quarterly. Is that what they've
I
been trying
think
to do?
Ron
I think
stays in touch
twice a
with them.
year.
So, yeah, so what we proposed recently was twice a year. One in, say,
The spring.
like,
and one in the
yeah,
fall, I think.
well, like April, at the beginning of the season, and one in like August, around this time, at the end of their season.
To
Kind of
answer your
that.
question of Trace, Ronnie's kind of our liaison for rec.
Okay,
Yeah, and let me be clear, I'm not trying to be a liaison, I'm just trying to give logic to reason.
yeah,
And I think if you, once you request like the audit, if, you know, their budget and whatnot, I really think you're gonna be surprised. Because from what I've heard from some people that I've talked to and stuff, the pool actually loses money most years.
I would think that'd be as expected for any small municipal pool.
but from what I looked up, it's roughly $160,000 off the 1% tax increase for the pool that they should be getting.
And again, I don't know any of those numbers or their budget or anything,
Go
so I
through-
can't
through the rec.
answer that. Yeah, that's something we have to address.
Since Ron passed, it's the communication between the rec department and the city has changed.
But you guys upload their minutes to your guys's, or is that just not something that the community, like, where are these minutes uploaded to when they're presented to you guys?
I think we're only supposed to,
I've been here
Those
3
just
years and
ours.
I've never seen minutes from the rec department.
they keep all their own records, don't they?
Okay.
Yeah, they have their own records.
And you can request those through them.
It's
Yeah.
the same form for them as well, or sorry, for them as well.
To my
Yeah.
knowledge, and then I think we
Okay.
pass it on to them.
All right.
Thank you.
Do you need one as well, Trace?
No, I'll just look at AJ's stuff.
Sasha? How are you doing this evening? Good.
I like your shirt.
Good to see you, thank you. So you have a copy of our draft task order, pretty straightforward. Describes what all we would be estimating the cost of for a grant application and fee. happy to answer any questions about the documents, and then I have a request for information myself after I take care of this.
I kind of went over this form before coming tonight, and I'm curious about that compensation line. It says the maximum amount of compensation associated with the task order shall not exceed 3,000. JEO will contact the client when 90% of the maximum amount has been used, at which time the task order may be amended to increase this amount. So how many times have you gotten to 90% of the work or 90% of the money and not completed the task order?
So I can't answer that question as like JEO in general.
Sure.
I can't answer that, but what I can tell you is that I've already talked to our team.
Sure.
3,000's probably not gonna cover the entire cost to put the estimate together, but that's where we're at with the price. So we don't have an intention of coming back to you for more money. And in fact, one of the items that isn't even listed on here is a survey. And the request for that already happened internally, so I can't answer your question, but what I can tell you is that we don't have an intention of coming back and saying it's only $3,000 for the estimate.
So you don't have an intention of coming back and asking for 3,000 more, but you don't think that the 3,000 is gonna cover it?
We know we're probably gonna lose money on the putting together the estimate in terms of the cost per hour for our staff to do this work.
I don't think any, with the time I've been on here and all the history we've worked with you guys, we've never had somebody, or have you guys come back and ask for more yet?
Oh,
We,
okay.
we try to avoid change orders.
Oh,
At all
sure.
costs, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
okay.
So in my few years here, yeah, they've never came back and asked for more.
Okay, just that nuance I was kind
Yeah.
of stuck on. Okay,
Not saying that they won't, but it's just they haven't before.
right.
Can you remind me, Sasha, are we gonna try to do it out of this year's budget or next year's?
So that was part of the request for information that I need from you all. The estimate will get underway right away, but the timing of when all that work occurs depends on what you all want. So, last time that I was here, we talked about the way that we have framed this opportunity to you all is as a, excuse me, a partnership with Osage County. We would need their commitment to submit a grant application, again, in the way that we framed it. You guys can pursue this cost share grant program by yourselves. There's nothing that prohibits that, but what we've outlined for you is what we think would be most successful based on our experience in going after this particular grant fund. So a partnership, which makes it more of a regional project because it includes a county highway or a section of county highway and a partnership with the county government. Economic development, we can argue for days about how this could change the face of your downtown
Sure.
and really support the economic development efforts that you guys are already undertaking. And then the accessibility is huge. You know, you guys have some accessibility issues for community members. We think that'll make a really strong argument. And I just lost the last one. Oh, back to the partnership. So you can apply by yourselves, but that would also leave you on the hook for the cost share. We know that there's a 15% cost share required to even apply for this program, so you have to be prepared to tell KDOT we have 15% of 1.5 million. If that was your request, that's the cap on the request amount. So we pose to you all that not only would a partnership with the county look good on the application in terms of the way it would score, but it would also put you guys in a position, if they agreed, that you could share that local cost. And sorry, this is the thing I forgot, spaced. We know 15% is the minimum required cost share. We would encourage you all, if you really are seriously considering this grant program, to think more about the 25 or 50%, which is a lot of money, I understand. But again, all of these recommendations are based on our experience of pursuing funding through this grant program at KDOT for our partner cities. So you have choices to make, of course, but in terms of when we would submit a grant application, we're prepared to submit this year. September 24th, 27th, whichever is a weekday, is the deadline for this application. So we got to go. Like, we will be hustling the estimate of all of this stuff, because there's a lot of work included in what's described that has to happen in 30-ish days. Because of course you all would see the grant application before it went anywhere. But my question to you all, has anyone had the opportunity to talk to Osage County? Because the way that we framed this for you, if you agree that that's a good plan, we would need them to come to the table and say, yep, we're willing to sign a letter that says that we're in support and we're formalizing a memorandum of understanding or some kind of formal agreement that we are partnering on this project. And then we also need some support letters. But we can make that easy for you all. You would want support letters from anyone you can think of, the county, local business members, community members. Perhaps you have some folks with some mobility issues that could write a letter, or you could write it for them, but a letter in support based on the accessibility issues, things like that. So ideally, we would have 30 of those support letters. I know that'll blow your hair back when you look at it, but for this year, what our kind of game plan would be for you guys is let's get as many as we can. And again, restate, if you can get folks that would be willing to sign a letter of support and you tell us it's the chamber president, or it's the business owner right here on Main Street, or it's someone with a mobility issue, we can write those letters for them and they could review it, and if they agree, sign it. So we will take the work out of it for your supporters, as well as, like, if county were to agree, then we'd be happy to draft a letter for them to consider, sending along with our application packet.
So a county commissioner, a letter from a county commissioner would be a good
The
one.
last time that we talked about this, we talked about whether the conversation was appropriate to start at the staff level or the elected official level.
Mhm.
You all seem to feel that elected official level was the appropriate place to start the conversation. I would agree, they control the budget.
Not only do they control the budget, so, I was told, and by somebody that served on the council, served as mayor, so we have what he called a connecting link.
Mhm.
So the county owns Big Boulevard, all the way through the city. They also own Main Street up to Kansas Avenue. And Kansas Avenue out to pretty much Tucker's. Anything that we do to that road as far as improvement, like we dig Main Street up and redo it, we now own that road, and it destroys that connecting link to the county will no longer take care of it. So if we're gonna do this project on Main Street, it has to be with that share program or whatever, it has to
Or
involve
we
the
don't
county.
touch the roadway.
We cannot touch the road. Now, we can do whatever we want to the parking areas and the gutter system and whatnot. But if we do anything to the roadway itself, then we've just basically bought that road from the county.
That's what this is the curb and guttering.
Well,
And the roadway.
it says.
Yeah, it
roadway.
says roadway
It
replacement.
says
Is it roadway if county
If they
agrees that?
agree, yeah.
Absolutely,
So-
absolutely. And then because
And
it's
to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know that any of us, I haven't talked to the county, I don't know if anybody else has talked to the county commissioners. To realistically get this done in 30 days, I think is a stretch.
okay,
So we're probably gonna be looking at next year's budget.
2027, that's fine, that
At-
gives us a little more
at
breathing room,
least,
and that's just
you know.
fine with us.
And that would give us time to get with the county commissioners and say, hey, our Main Street needs to have some stuff done to it. We want to involve you and do this share program or whatever, file for grants,
Sure.
and stuff. That's my take on it.
So they'd have to do the share program in order for us not to have full responsibility, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
If we touch the road.
If we touch the road.
Roadway.
But if you don't touch the road, I'm not sure that this is the right program, based on, it's a KDOT grant program.
Correct.
So although
But
they may
KDOT's
pay
also done our
for,
sidewalks.
They may
So-
pay for sidewalks and curbs and gutters and things like that, but
Yeah,
they're,
we've already done
focus.
with BG Consultants. They did a KDOT grant for our sidewalks.
for transportation enhancement program, probably right. But this program is aimed at roads. So it could encompass all of it, but the intent, you know, is the.
So
They
Well,
absolutely have
ours-
sidewalk
no.
programs.
You're looking
Well,
at
we
it
do it
differently.
for
You're
lots.
looking at it from the road side. I'm looking at it from accessibility
Sidewalks.
on the
We do
sidewalks.
anything with roads,
So that would fall
We just bought
more
that.
towards the sidewalk side of things than it would roadway.
if we don't include the.
I don't disagree.
But to do the sidewalk, all that has to change. So you could go at it from either direction.
But I believe this program, this KDOT cost share grant program, is targeting roads.
The one you're currently
This
talking
particular
about
one.
that's due in 30 days.
So in order to
We
get
have a
this
whole
grant,
year, so we could be looking at many other grants.
We absolutely
correct.
could, and this
So that
estimate
opens
could
us
be
up. We're not limited.
used, absolutely, because no matter what grant, that's a very good point, Councilman Moore. No matter what grant opportunity you all want to pursue, we're gonna need numbers, you know? And so the estimate is a good first step. Whether you all talk to the county and they say, we're not interested, or you're, you know, you don't want to partner with the county, whatever those things are, we're gonna need an estimate if we're gonna pursue it.
How long is this estimate good for? If we did the $3,000 today, but we don't pursue a grant until next year, is this estimate that we get now
So
still valid?
if you all approve this task order today, we would start work on it. So
What
we
you're
wouldn't
doing is
wait
drafting.
until next year to get started, even if you guys said, we're not gonna be able to meet the 30-day window, cause that's a lot, and I get that. We would likely do the estimate now, because this is an agreement for now, but then we would have that ready. And really,
And it could be tacked at any grant that comes up in the future.
absolutely,
We
because
wouldn't have to do this
these
again.
are all of the things that you want to improve. And even to Councilmember Moore's point, if you chose to throw the road out so that we don't get that connecting link and try to assume ownership responsibility, because we ain't signing up for that. The roadway information is a little piece of everything that's included. I mean, I could go back and find out what it would reduce the cost significantly to take the road out. I would encourage you all to consider, let's estimate the whole thing so that you know what we're looking
But like
at.
what she was saying, so we get this estimate, and I get things change, how long are the numbers of those estimates guaranteed for? 6 months, 30 days, a year? That's what,
Guaranteed.
that's what she
It
was,
won't be good next year.
It'll
Well-
give a good baseline though.
but it did,
yeah, I'm
you're
doing
right.
And so you guys,
And
what do you
I'm-
charge to update it? Like if the price of concrete goes up or something, your
Sure.
estimate's gonna go up.
Sure, and so let's walk that scenario out. We do an estimate for you all this year. We want to apply for a grant next year. We know we should probably freshen up our estimate. We have access to the cost of materials, labor on all kinds of projects all over the state, because that's what we're in the business for. So I can't tell you off the top of my head, I am sorry. I hate saying that, but what that update would cost, but it would be pretty minimal, because we would already have quantities estimated, and so it would be a matter of, in the spreadsheet where that cost gets all figured out, we would update the cost per unit on asphalt or concrete or whatever it is. And so it would be a fairly.
But if a grant popped up, we're ready to go.
You are ready to go. And the other thing that I would encourage you all, to just consider is we could help position you in a better way, and that's not the right word that I'm looking for, if we could work with you in this way to plan for the future on a more regular basis. And that'll be something I'll be working with Mike and Emily to get on the agenda to come talk to you about. We really think that Carbondale could benefit, and our partnership with you would definitely benefit if we could sit down and do some planning with you and think about more than this month or even this 6 months, like, let's
A
think
3-year plan,
5-year plan.
5-year.
3-year plan, we could start with 3 years, but that's a conversation for another day.
Is the 3,000 in the budget, Emily?
Yeah, 3,000 is doable.
I make a motion, we approve the task order, name of the project, Carbondale Main Street Rehabilitation, initial cost estimate from JEO Consulting Group for $3,000, not to exceed 3,000.
Motion been made by Holly. Second by Ron. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed?
So I'm clear, we're shooting for a 2027 application, right? And if you all want me to, based on the estimates, whoever said that would need to be updated, I can go back and talk to the technical crew about timing it a little later in the year, if that gives you all peace of mind.
From my perspective, I think doing this, and I agree with Holly and Ron that we need to do this. And I think once we have solid numbers, that it's gonna cost X amount of dollars, we can go to the county and say, look,
Okay,
we wanna make these improvements down through Main Street. It includes redoing the road. We need your partnership. We're going to apply for this grant, but it's a partnership grant that we need you guys on board for. Are you willing to, that way they can also plan, look at their budget.
absolutely.
But without any solid numbers, nobody knows.
Sorry to get the committee.
So do I have a consensus on that?
I've got,
We want
I've
letters,
got,
numbers soon.
we got 4 in favor and 1 opposed, so motion's been carried. Procurement. Does that say
Yeah.
procedure policy? So that the big packet.
Yes.
Little difficult not having this.
The one that I guess we really need to pay attention to is the one City of Carbondale policy regarding, wellness. Do you see the one you mentioned in there?
That is. I didn't see anything from Tom, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There's one that says BG,
Embarrassing.
there's nothing in here that's, unless it's,
Okay, skip it and I'll go find it in my email.
Okay. So we're gonna pause on this one until we get more information.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
go on to Dustin and we'll be back.
Okay. We can do that. Dustin?
Don't have a lot for you today. Do you have the last one?
A what?
No, this is the lift station work we were having done. This is
Oh, okay.
an invoice from it. And we pass it around, but
Okay.
this is something that was done already, so that is these are parts, and you'll see the numbers there. There's enough parts to do the other one later.
Okay.
So-
And this is for the one that's up on the new development area that we've been having
Yeah.
some float issues with, I guess.
You check that out, I think it's a pretty decent price.
It's one that you've been messing with for a little while, and I mentioned just to
Yes.
get somebody in there.
But what that is they came down, figured out the problem. We made it work. So that's the top 2 lines, that's the price that they've already done the service
This
for.
one's been done.
The next lines are 2 times the amount of parts that we need to rebuild the pump. That way, they rebuild the pump. All of us get to watch that happen, and then we have the parts to do the other one when it happens. So it's kind of a preventative maintenance and getting some training.
A little back up on this,
so this is approved or we need to approve?
This was approved,
This was approved.
yes.
all the extra parts and stuff.
I believe the council said, let's have them come in and get this fixed.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
We might double check that, cause I remember that I told you to get somebody in there because we're having issues with it backing up and flooding the yards.
They haven't,
Or we had
to my
guys.
knowledge, they haven't ordered anything, so now would be. the
I'm just
time.
asking because I didn't know if we were looking at this for approval or if we have already.
I mean, to
approved
be
money.
safe, we can always approve it again, you know,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep.
We'll pass it around there. But yeah, like we had maintenance guys going up there, what, every 6 hours and turning them on manually for a little bit there.
Yeah, depending on if people
Yeah,
are home or not.
so yeah, that's why we went ahead
And
So you're saying it by having the ability to watch them rebuild one, or having build this one, you'll be able to rebuild the other and have some redundancy.
correct, because I don't wanna sell myself short, but I've never done it. So if I can watch you do it, and my guys can watch you do it, and there's a little bit of, you know, they're gonna get it done. It's not me trying it and not getting it done right, like some blind thing. But,
There's a little finesse to rebuild the pump.
yes, and I've seen them apart, but it was a long time ago. And it's gonna be helpful to have an actual technician show them the right way rather than me. This is kinda how I remember it.
Yeah, take pictures and video.
Yes. Yes. That's a good thing in my mind to have. We'll have some extra parts there for the next one. So,
Sounds good.
while they're finishing up looking at that, do you have any?
The asphalt crew with hanging tags, they're gonna pave Kansas tomorrow and Wednesday. So the guys got it smoothed out pretty well. We had milling this week, last week.
You get a chance to see if there's any more overhanging trees or anything?
They're not terrible. We are gonna start pretty quick in the morning. They're gonna start at about 8:30 in the morning paving. We're gonna get right in front of them, tidy up a little, do a little finish work in front of them. I hope that goes smoothly. Hopefully it's only one day. Yes, that's 2 days possible. We got some wire poles, but they're not finished. We did get some headway.
What are these pumps for? Water pumps?
Those are wastewater pumps.
I got you.
Just because we can't remember if a motion was made on this, so we want to make action again, or make action on this. One second.
Yeah, if you don't figure out what to do, because you said part of it's already been paid.
The top part's owed,
Oh,
because they came in, diagnosed, fixed it, and that's a charge.
do you want to figure what the difference is?
It's just this grand total down here, right? That's on the bottom.
Yeah, it's the grand total.
I was gonna say it'd be the total of everything.
Okay.
Alright, so I move to approve Alliance Pump for repairs and spare parts for pump rebuild on pump station for $3,829.
I'll second.
Motion been made by Chad, second by John. Any further discussion?
You said we don't know if the motion's been made on that or not.
Dustin thinks it was done a meeting ago or 2 meetings ago, so we're just doing it to be safe.
And it would not have included the spare parts.
Like
It
I
was a
made-
motion not to exceed something.
I got you. We were
That
just
was
doing
for
it just to
something else.
cover
That was
ourselves.
$2,000 for the scales out the water plant.
So I may have had approval to look into it, but maybe not approval to purchase and have them repaired. So on the safe side, approving that would cover us.
At
Cover
worst,
me.
at worst, we're approving any extra to cover the spare parts for the second pump.
Oh.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All in favor? Motion carried.
Yeah, back to this. Anything else for me?
I had a question. How's the railing going up there at the pool?
They shifting the wrong stuff one time. And I talked to him last week, Friday, I believe it was, no, it was Wednesday, I talked to him. Gave him till Wednesday, so I went down and talked to him again, he said he got the right stuff, it was a little short, but he still figured he would be done by the end of the week.
By Friday.
But, no, it ain't done yet, but I know he's busy and I know he's working on it, and I know he
Sure.
had a couple of hiccups with logistics, so.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that it is a primo product when done.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
he does good work, it's just sometimes you gotta wait for that. So hopefully it's a great product for next season. You know, we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Be good to get it in there. Anything else for Dustin?
We moving along on the dock.
Yes, that should be having some movement this week, if not next. He got ahold of me last Friday, said a week out from coming back from Galvanize. So when I get word from him that it's coming back, we'll pull the dock out, take the piece that needs repaired, the first piece, up to him so he can repair it. And hopefully time that all to where it's only a day or two where the dock's at. That's the goal, to minimize how long we're without a dock. But there is going to be a day or so that there won't be.
Is there a way you can stay in touch with Emily or the office so they can post it and keep the community?
And I give him a call tomorrow and see where his timeline is.
Obviously, more heads up, the better.
And we are gonna have to buy cable, about 60 foot for each side, to put in our guide wires. So that's a price that I'll bring to you next week. Or possibly, it shouldn't be crazy, but we need the cable so that it doesn't fit.
Okay, now I want to flip to the other lake.
Okay.
I know it's been a long time. What all did we need to do that spillway?
We need to replace the tube that goes from the concrete square. At minimum, we need to replace that tube that goes all the way through because it's just rotting out. And anytime I patched it, it leaked over here. It's a tar covered galvanized tube, basically. So it's just rotten metal. So our new machine even doesn't reach deep enough. So it would be hiring, and ideally for me, it would be hiring somebody to dig that with an actual hose and replace that tube.
Can you work on some estimates? Nothing that has to happen right away, but near.
Is that the tube still underwater? Is it accessible or is it
Oh, no,
accessible?
it leaks as soon as it gets up there.
So it's,
That's the
so it's
problem.
accessible.
It leaks from the water side, so it won't go, it'll get above that, in heavy rain, but 3 days later it's back. I've dug it up 3 times and patched it, and it's blown out in a new spot each time I've done it, so.
So you need to replace it like heavy duty PVC pipe or something like that.
It would be the same that we use for culverts, would be high density polyethylene.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else for Dustin? Alright. Thank you, Dustin.
Yep.
Emily, did you find?
I don't know, I thought Tom had sent us something on it, but I didn't find anything. So what it comes down to, and I believe what we have is okay, but for our grants and the purchasing policy, E2, basically this email and information is stating that they are weighing heavily on that statement there for state and federal assistance on funding. And so a sample version's attached here of what they had recommended.
So what is it that we're missing? I don't understand it.
I might have to read through it.
What are we not complying with? That's what it sounds like they're saying in this letter is we're not complying with following state and federal regulations. What part of that are we not
When I
complying
talked
with?
to her when I talked to Sarah, she said we can leave it how it is, but it's a stretch. And so she submitted it with this purchasing policy, and so it's just a recommendation to update our purchasing policy. For state and federal assistance funds, and I don't know, do you have any knowledge on that, Sasha, on purchasing policies, and this is what they're talking about? You may not. When it comes to grants, what they require us to have in there.
What's your question? Like if this language is appropriate?
Yeah,
I would defer to your city attorney, but in my experience, professional experience, like, yeah, if you're getting state or federal money, they want you to comply with their rules and regulations. I mean, that's, which I don't have the context, so
but I don't think it's anything immediate, we can come back to it in the
Can we
next
hold off
meeting.
until Tom's reviewed it and has suggestions?
Mhm.
Cause I don't understand what all they're asking for.
I agree with change.
Alright, we'll table this, we'll move on. Zoning. Mr. Phil, President Phil.
Yeah,
I'm here to the end.
okay. I need to get with Tom and find out about updating our privacy fence statutes, just like we said before, there's 3 different statutes, or 3 different times where it goes back on itself in our current statutes, so. And without having a full zoning board, I don't know what else I can do on that. Home inspection status, I'm starting on the practice test the 2nd week of September with the hopes of taking the full test in October. So just giving you guys a heads up on that. I'm working with Drippy and Jeremiah Johnson, trying to figure out exactly what we're supposed to have as far as our electrical and plumbing inspections, because right now all we're getting is a receipt that they were done. And at the bottom it says inspected or passed, but we're not getting an actual inspection report on any of the homes that they're building up there.
Are they not stamping like the inside of the doorway, like the current, typically like it's big, and when like electrical does their inspection, whoever that electrical inspector was, has a stamp. And they will stamp like the frame, like of the door going like into the garage.
They may be
I mean,
marking
it gets
homes,
covered up in case, you know.
But you're not
case-
getting an itemized.
we're not
what
getting
you're
an actual
expecting.
inspection report that, from what I can tell, some inspectors actually provide. Whether it's required for us, I don't know. Once again, I need to find out. I've asked the plumbing inspector and the electrical inspector independently if they do any type of write-ups, and so far they say that they haven't really, because all they really needed to do was say whether it passed or not exactly what was going on. But, so I'm still working on that.
I thought in the beginning we were getting
Actual reports.
some kind of a report.
I've gone back, I don't have the first 2 homes, I haven't found them yet, just because of the way things were put away years ago. But the current houses that we're doing occupancy on now, we're just getting a receipt. Like it's a 1-page receipt at the bottom that says inspected, and that's from the electric plant. Which technically passes them for the occupancy,
Which I'm not sure. Are we having electrical inspections in?
We were
The
Dylan
first-
was handling it all, it's the same inspectors that we have now, we went back
'Cause
through the
we-
files,
yeah.
but
They started out with 4 homes.
Okay.
Initial, that was the initial. They got permits for.
and those are the ones that are very far west.
Yep.
Running north and south.
Yep.
Okay, so those are the ones that I can't find so far. I've gone Teresa Court, North Street. What's the other one? There's another one. Anyways, I think I found 6 so far, and they all have the same thing, just a receipt. There's no actual written inspection, like description or anything. It just says inspected. Which may be all that we need.
And I might be remembering wrong, but I
Whatever.
thought not that we seen it, but I thought Dylan said that he got the reports back.
So far, Jeremiah says he doesn't know anything about that. The plumbing and the electrical inspectors, they don't do full reports. And Drippy says that they were never requested.
To the extent you've got inspectors that are qualified passing work, I don't know that we need a full-blown report of what all they examined. It falls on them if they're passing all the work.
Gotcha.
So I would suspect that what you're going to see with any of those inspections are just a pass or a fail.
Gotcha.
Now, if they fail, they'll probably give you a number of reasons why they failed. But if they found that it passed, I don't think you're gonna get a detail as to what they found that made them conclude to pass the work.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
I would be concerned if they were not passing the inspections and didn't give us reasons why they did not pass the work.
So I know like City of Topeka, they have their little notebook and they check off stuff. Now, me as the journeyman on the job didn't see any of that, but they would put their sticker on the furnace or whatever it was,
Right.
water heater.
Maybe they do that, they just, they're
At the
not
job.
required to send it to us, and we may not need it.
I do remember one of those homes passed, it was like contingent on, and there was a list of things that needed to be, before we issued the occupancy, and that was on one of the first ones. But maybe that's just because there was something wrong that we
Then
saw.
that could be,
Alright, I haven't heard from Ashton, so I don't know exactly what to do with his wall. I don't think it's gonna make it by the fall festival at this point, which was the plan at the beginning, so I'm pushing it up for 2 more weeks. Other than that, we just got the data center stuff. I sent out emails to everybody. I know much of you guys are just not getting into your emails again. We were going to try and have a conversation with the Wyandotte County Unified Government. They were interested in having a team meeting, but to get all of you guys and all of them on a team meeting at the same time. They're not against doing it, but they just want to do it once. So now what they requested is that you guys give questions, I'll email them over and then bring them back to you guys at the next meeting. If you guys have questions between the last one and this one, have you guys looked into any of the videos and information on data centers that you had from last time?
I've done kind of a deep dive. I've got about 6 questions here for you.
Gotcha.
I've looked at some of that stuff, Phil, but one of those letters that was in there, and this is kind of my holdup on it. I believe the county has a meeting next week. So they're talking about rezoning.
So I have a meeting tomorrow with the county to go over with them. They're having, on August 6th, they're having a public discussion regarding changing their statutes, whether pro or against, they don't know yet. Gotta find out more tomorrow.
Because here's my take. If the county rezones, it says, nope, we're not gonna allow data centers in the county. It doesn't matter if we talk Wyandotte County or not.
Understood?
I mean, you know what I mean?
I'm actually, I'm not 100% sure on that, whether or not we would still have the ability, if the city decided that they wanted to do this, whether the county could stop us from doing it. Is that possible?
Where the proposed area is at, technical county.
Yeah, I don't think that where they're wanting to build is within the city limits.
It is not.
It is within the 3-mile radius, but
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one,
And I don't either.
but I'm just.
That's kind of where my stance is
I'll ask them
on it
tomorrow.
is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, I don't wanna put a whole lot of effort, work into it. The county says, nope, we're not gonna allow them. And then, I mean, cause then to me, at that point, it's a mute deal.
Moot point, I
It's a
understand.
mute point, yeah.
So in that instance though, if the data center or any company that wants to build a data center was in a 3-mile radius, would it be possible to, is it called rezoning when you put something or land into the city limits?
Annex.
it's called
Annex.
annexation.
Is annexation possible, whether that land is touching the city borders or not?
There's
what
another
is
thing
that
that I was
process?
told by the county that doesn't require annexation, but it would still, if it's within the radius of our region, there's another way to actually zone something like this. It doesn't even have to be data centers to where it still falls under us, but we don't actually have to annex it.
Trump Cemetery,
Yeah,
isn't that, I mean, that's city property, I don't know if that was actually annexed.
I don't know.
I
Like the
don't
lake.
I can ask on that tomorrow also. Cause,
But if we wanna hold off for 2 weeks, how long, what date is
It's
August
actually,
8th?
probably gonna be, well,
3 weeks. That's 3 weeks away. That's the public discussion.
I think our next meeting is September 8th on a Tuesday.
yeah.
So when is the public discussion?
August 6th.
At when?
I do not know. It's on the county website.
Okay,
You mean September.
September 6th, I apologize. Yeah.
it's okay. Ready again.
And then I'm assuming that once they have that, then the county's gonna have to go back into closed session to try and update their statutes off of whatever they get from the public. It may take weeks after that before the county comes to a decision. But at the same time, the developer on the data center, they just wanna know what your guys' temperature was on it. At this point, they said that their next step is going and talking to the landowners and seeing if they can even purchase the land. And from what I understand, that's the status that they're in right now. Once they find that out, then they told me is they can get us a much more close idea on the size, the exact location, and where it would fall as far as water goes, how to get the power there, whether they can even, there's a lot of questions once they actually get the whole thing drawn up.
And so much of that, I don't think is even within the city's control. I mean, the water district, if it's gonna fall within a water district, the territory of a water district.
Well, and where it's proposed, but, would be, Water District 5. And although they do buy the water from us, but Water District 5 is responsible.
However, they're going to be.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
And again, I mean, I get it, it's in the infancy stage, I mean, they're coming whether we want them or not.
And power is gonna be supplied by Evergy.
Yeah,
And that's, honestly, that's what I dug into a lot. I mean, if Carbondale's gonna provide water, would the company that's building this data center be willing to build us a new state-of-the-art water treatment plant? And if Evergy's having to build some infrastructure, would the company be willing to pay for that infrastructure? Because I don't want the citizens to have that cost on their backs for the next 30+ years, like some of the other small companies in the US, or some of the other small communities, in the US.
I can ask about water, but I specifically asked about the power side of it.
Sure.
And said that they are responsible for, on their own dime, they have to build Evergy's increase in power distribution, so just take care of their needs. They have to build all that for Evergy, they have to build the transmission from wherever that power plant is to where they're gonna put the site. So that's all on their dime, so they're building the infrastructure all the way through. And once it gets, if it was to be here, and Wyandotte County backed this up, if it was to be here, they have to upgrade our own power grid so that if the town does go down, we can't blame it on.
Right.
So that was one of the selling points for them is if you guys are having power outages recently and this and that, this might take care of that, but we have to do that on our own dime. Wyandotte County backed it up on their side, so that they haven't paid 1 penny out of pocket for anything out there, and that they are doing what they said that they were gonna do here in Wyandotte County, as far as power. I don't know about water.
Sure, and I mean, one of my major questions for Wyandotte was, did the company qualify for that sales tax exemption under SB 98?
I will send
Because there's a lot of qualifications that they have to reach or whatever to even qualify for that sales tax exemption.
and there may be a whole bunch of other things that Osage County puts on at this
Sure.
next meeting that limits them to where it's not possible to do it here. Even if they could do it here, it
Yeah.
might not make it financially feasible. I won't know until Osage County gets their stuff together.
right.
So we can send the Wyandotte County any questions you guys have, and then I can bring those back. And if we get to a point where you guys wanna have a team meeting with their unified government, which they're willing to do, it's just trying to line the whole thing up on Monday nights. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, I'll give you this. These are my questions. Does any, you guys wanna see
I
them?
didn't write anything down.
Can you make a copy? You don't have to right now, just look for it.
Just email it to you.
Yeah, just email me a copy of the whole thing.
Start a whole file on that, all the questions, everything's.
No, they're going on, as soon as they give me access to the server over here. I did get a laptop, so I have access to email that's off my own stuff, I'm still waiting on the phone, but right now the laptop does just fine. I have access to that. Anything else? That's all I got for today.
Anything else for Phil? Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Alright. Next, we have an executive session. I think this is in regards to the previous interview that we had last meeting. We'll do a follow-up discussion on closed doors.
I move the city council to recess into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss. What is it?
You could do non-elected.
Non-elected personnel matter exception, KSA 75-4319B1. Open meeting will resume in the city council room at 8:25 PM. To include the lawyer, the mayor, and the city council and Emily, or the city clerk.
Motion's been made. Second by John.
No, we're gonna have a discussion, if you don't mind.
Any further discussion?
What?
No.
No.
Well, are you just thinking we're gonna go? Yeah.
That's
Oh, you're leaving, gotcha,
There's a
gotcha.
lot of stuff
Okay.
going on, okay.
This one, Main Street Road.
Yeah.
Will you let us in?
The gentleman I'm talking to actually, I thought he sent me a message, but I didn't send an email, so I'm still getting my stuff in line too.
Okay. Let me be there. Well, I'm not trying to rush the executive session. Thanks, sir.
Yep, going on.
Go ahead and shut them down. Yeah, I was going to do what you said.
Chief. Chief.
Yeah, I've been in the office, he's been a little bit whiny, so I'm pretty convinced.
Yeah.
I didn't mind whining on video.
We'll open back up into the Carbondale City Council meeting.
Council was in executive session for 15 minutes with notices made.
Are you ready to move on to police? We are ready to move on to you, Chief.
Good evening, council. Thanks for having me. So things are progressing. We have one patrol car left that have detailed. So things are going well. The cars are looking good. You guys are responsible for the officers are responsible for them. we had no accidents in the first couple weeks of this month. We've had 3 incident reports, dogs, information, stuff like that. We had 3 KBI reports, up to now. Tonight, we have a battery report. One was burglary and theft, which we solved. Officer Locke and I did interviews and resolved that one. An arrest, a DUI, possession of controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, transportation of container, reckless driving was another one, and then another criminal damage. So that we were not able to resolve yet, but we're looking into it. So we've had 2 trainings. Officer Locke went with the Kansas Highway Patrol, the saturation training in Wichita on the 8th. Officer Driscoll just completed his saturation patrol with the Highway Patrol on the 15th. I will say that after talking to both officers, I have not seen them that excited about being law enforcement since I got here. And now they see what the potentials are. They learned. Both of them got in on multiple DUIs or even C for drugs, telling about drugs and driving under impairment. Officer Driscoll got a big course in that this last weekend. So they're pretty excited about what they're doing. And I think that's going to reflect back into their work. Part of that self-confidence, Osage County Night Out was a great event last week. Carbondale did attend. And in fact, Officer Driscoll, Officer Locke, and one of the Osage City PD officers represented the Battle of the Badges over the Battle of the Barrel. The fire department spraying the water. Law enforcement jumped in this year. Officer Locke and Officer Driscoll won their first 2 Battle of the Barrels. So they, out of their shell, were doing very well. We get to meet a lot of different officers around the county. So that's going to continue. We're going to continue training probably once a week throughout September. This week on Wednesday, we will be in Osage City. The county attorney is presenting on court writing, testifying, things like that. Things that we need to know that she's looking for here in our county. So that will be a good training to be at. The only other thing that I really have, I try not to present too much and ask for too much until we find a new chief, but I would like to ask, and I've asked, talked to Emily and Michael, what's the chances that we can get started on the new building in 2026 versus waiting until 2027? Like to talk about considerations for that, if there's budget in there and available for that. I think it would be a good move to move that forward if the council feels right about it.
Well, I think we talked to Jay about if there's any like grants funding that we can do. And they seemed on board. It was my take on it.
They wanted drawings.
Yeah,
Their-
so
their
they
first-
wanted
First question was
Yeah,
drawings.
preliminary,
Some
like
kind of rendering of
like
what's
layout
expected.
and everything what we're talking about.
I did, I think the mayor or Emily had forwarded me some drawings. I made some changes that I would be willing to share with the council. Sasha did catch me outside and I asked her that question. And she said she would be happy to work with us. But like I said, my questions always start with the council. How do you feel about it? Future take on things. And if you want to look at drawings, or we can look at how we can progress that factor.
My question is, and because I know that's kind of what their plan was, but, and I don't know how the rest of the council feels. Does your vision include having the city clerk in that building?
Court clerk?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Court clerk.
No, that, the office that they technically kind of assigned, I think the court clerk is better here to back up your other clerical. I like the fact of having somebody there at least half the day to answer the phones, but we can work around that. But it opens up a room for a designated interview and interrogation room that we control.
Well, I don't disagree. I mean, because I think there are conversations that are had, especially like the way it's set up now, that court clerk has no business here.
So-
In my opinion, so whether it's an interrogation or an interview or whatever, so I would agree with that.
Like I say, I look at things just a little bit differently, so I would be happy to share those with the council and my thoughts on that.
I know last year's budget did set aside $5,000, I think, to go towards it. I don't know what this year's budget is planned to set aside for it, either to match grants or to pay for things, but to answer your budget question, there's not a whole lot yet there.
Right.
Because when she brought it to the idea of purchasing it, previous chief,
Mhm.
she sold it to us on the fact that she was going to find grants that would help keep the cost of taxpayers, down.
Right.
And so I know that that's kind of where we're standing as far as trying to see if we can still find.
In your opinion, is there anything down there that could be started with blood, sweat, tears on our part?
I have not been inside the building. I was gonna go in and kind of tape it off, with the drawings that had been rendered, just to get a view. I spoke to the city attorney the other day as we were having court. I said, basically the area they rendered in the initial drawing was about 20 by 20, which will be pretty small and pretty tight for courtroom. So I think there's just some things we need to look at and adjust, but we have to kind of see it laid out, I think.
Change your vision from my perspective, change your vision, leave court here.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm
okay with
thinking.
that. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That room that you're talking about, make that a nice training room.
Yeah.
Where not only for our officers, but if we have, like you're saying, you're going to Osage City.
Yeah.
That opens that up to where those people can come here.
And I'm a multidiscipline training instructor of different, so in fact, we've used to host here, whether it be low light, handcuffing, self-defense. I mean, we can do something here, and we have other instructors we partner with. That would be a great possibility.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to move the court proceedings from here. I don't think it interferes with anything the city, from the city clerk's perspective, you'd have to weigh in.
No.
And in most of the communities that I represent, the court clerk is actually a deputy city clerk, whose responsibility is the municipal court, on top of other things. So I don't see any reason not to have that. I do believe that it is appropriate to have separation between the court clerk and the police staff.
I agree with that. Okay. So would the next thing be to maybe reach out to Sasha and ask if she could look at something, or what is our next step?
You can, I'll be just the middleman in the way, so if you don't mind reaching out to her directly, just say, hey, where are you at on this? I know they showed you the new building. What
Are there
ideas
any
you have?
interior offices in that right now, or is it just?
There's some walled off, like,
Yeah, it's gonna have to be
they're just studded.
mostly
They're
gutted.
not really like sheetrocked and everything. There is one section that's fully sheetrocked and everything, but
I'm just wondering if
it's
any
really
of that,
rough.
I'm just wondering.
some
if
of it
any that
reusable? Yes.
Could be doors relocated, stuff like that.
I don't think the walls are anywhere near where,
Yeah,
I think
the
the
drawings
office
that we've
that's
seen.
built there could be relocated to where you need it to be.
It could be taken apart.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
but
take walls down, not totally take care of your stuff.
that's also all on one half of the building. The other half, wide
Wide
open.
open.
It's
So
almost a blank canvas.
Yeah.
If
Would there
we
be
were-
an evidence locker and stuff in there too?
We would, and that's the thing that really kind of requires a little bit more, I wouldn't say detail, but heavier build, because they have to be able where somebody can't access from the roof or what,
Right.
within walls. So,
I would say in the drawings that we looked at, Ron and I discussed, I think even the office, doing what would that be, the northwest corner? Possibly even having a door off the back that would just access a room there for city storage. Like right now, we're keeping our city Christmas tree in the old water department down here, so
on the inside of that building, or adding
Inside.
kind of a,
inside.
I don't know if
Stealing
it's
it.
big enough for that.
Would we be able to store stuff in there once they move out?
Yeah,
Well, that depends on who all stays and what all we put in here.
Depends on a remodel here eventually.
Because that's the next step, is once that's remodeled, remodel this. And I'd like to see this room, if we're going to continue to have court council and rent it out, I'd like to see that go back to the way it was and have a bigger open room.
I agree. I appreciate the council having the conversation and being open to starting to look at it, so. Take up any more time. The other thing that I was gonna ask to get a conversation started is I know that it went to full-time officers, so you didn't have part-time officers. But would the council consider a part-time officer, so we could also look at a part-time code enforcer? Then law enforcement isn't doing code enforcement, which I think can muddy the waters occasionally, when it comes to rights and different things. Would that be something that you guys would entertain or want me to look at and bring you back more of a proposal or?
So I'm kind of glad you brought that up because, I would tell you what my feeling is on code enforcement.
Yes, sir.
I think that's the responsibility of the police department. We have officers who drive around and, I mean, yes, they get called out on calls and stuff, but for the most part, they're driving around. I think the police department needs to do code enforcement. I don't think we need to have a part-time dedicated person for code enforcement. That's just my opinion. Now, I don't know how many of the other council members do this, but when I come into town and stuff, we approved them to do, Kansas Avenue and stuff, well, I drive through town, they started this project, as Pro Seal come in, they started, redoing roads and stuff, I'm driving through town and looking at different things. That's how I knew about the property down here on 3rd and Wells. I mean, there are lots of yards in this town that need mowed. I think letters need to be sent out. I feel that should be the job of the police officers. As they're driving around, they write an address down, yard needs mowed.
And council member,
Stuff like that.
can't disagree with part of that. And the good thing is I will respect whatever the council decides. But you're not just talking about the front end work. They're driving around, they're writing down, hey, this yard or this house has abandoned cars or something. It's then the follow-up of the letters, the court, the things like that require a lot more time and attention from probably your department head, which right now I do not have the time to do.
I understand that, but when the letters go out, you're the one that sends those out, correct? No?
Wouldn't that be the court clerk?
Can the court clerk not do that?
Well,
The problem there
yeah,
is
now you've got
previously
the
was
court clerk
clerk.
acting as part of the prosecutorial arm.
Correct.
So she cannot.
So again, it's not optimal.
So
Sure.
I guess my thoughts on that is having a part-time code enforcement would be good. Partnering with the patrol guys that are out because they notice stuff, they can always report back to this individual for further investigation.
Sure.
Type of thing.
I wouldn't
see.
necessarily disagree with that.
And I will say, you had said something earlier when you were speaking about the new building, getting it up and running, having somebody part-time there answering phones. A part-time code enforcement officer could in fact do that because a lot of that is just paper pushing and you're just sitting by the phone.
That could be, or yes, very well.
But they
I have
have to
thought
be able to go out and they have to be able to patrol, they have to be able to knock on doors and hang tags.
Right, well, and they can have a phone
And
that
if you,
can
so if
forward.
you're gonna have somebody part-time to answer phones, they need to be dedicated to their job. They need to be in that building answering phones. And
So just answering phones, nothing more.
well, I mean, they can do clerical work for the chief or whatever else, but
Well, so I guess what I'm confused about is we just talked about having the officers do the code enforcement. But then we start talking about designating one officer for code enforcement and it's an issue. So I think I agree with the chief in saying that putting the code enforcement on all of the officers, I feel like that's kind of overdoing their responsibilities. If we had just one code enforcement officer, maybe a part-time, maybe even a full-time, to where part of that time he's dedicated to answering phones and sending out letters, and the other half time he's running around. And I mean, you can have a phone go to a cell phone and still be able to answer it and be driving around. I mean,
It could be a two-part.
but when somebody comes in and says, hey, I need this form, There's nobody there because they're out patrolling.
Maybe there could be a request form. I mean, there's ways around certain things like an issue like that.
A set schedule for part-time one, part-time two.
Yeah, I say, again, I appreciate the council being willing to have the conversation. I'm sorry, Councilman Moore, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, you're fine. I was just gonna say, let me give you some history on where we came to police officers take care of it. We finally decided to hire a part-time code officer. What's it been? 5 of them?
One after another.
They do it for about a few months. They're tired of it. They're tired of going to court. They're tired of doing this. They quit.
So what are the reasons?
We hire the next one. They work 3 days. Now they say what I signed up for. They quit. We got tired of that. We said, Shannon, can you do this? Yes. Well, we had more officers at the time. And they split it up to where one officer had this corner of town, one had that corner of town. It worked then. I get we're short-staffed. That's most of the problem right now.
Right.
That's not saying that we gotta hit every single door right now with every little problem. We'll catch up. But we gotta get the police department up and running. That's our main focus.
Right.
If you've got somebody that wants to do it, well, I've got no problem interviewing.
Right.
I'm just telling you, plan on 6 months
So,
and they're moving on.
well, I will say though, and to your point, I think since the police department is now under new management, we may have different results.
See that?
Could be. I will set very direct expectations so they know what they're walking into. I mean, I don't know if that was happening in the past or not. I can't say, but I'm pretty direct on this is the job, and and I'm not gonna say that we're busy all the time because we have downtime and we can help. I just think there's also law enforcement looks at things a lot different than civil.
Sure.
And we can easily cross a line, not meaning to, but I think that there is things that we definitely have to watch when law enforcement are the ones doing code enforcement. City attorney shaking his head there, so anyhow, I said, it's just a conversation I wanted to kind of get rolling, that we can talk and.
Can we make it a seasonal temporary position until they get on their feet?
I don't think you can make it seasonal because technically, code enforcement, if like Waiver decides, we get a foot and a half of snow, I'm not going down and shoveling my sidewalk. Well, that's a violation of code. Whether it's the post office, the doctor's office, or Main Street.
I'm just saying, can we hire code enforcement and let them know it's a temporary position until we're fully staffed in the police department, or they can take it back over?
Well, if we're gonna hire somebody part-time and they wanna come in and do it, then let's hire them. Let's get them on board and hope it works. I'm just throwing out the history of,
It's not working.
it's a
and
revolving door.
And I don't disagree with that.
It's
But
the
I-
most thankless job you're ever gonna do in your life.
Right.
And the biggest
You
problem,
haven't been, you haven't talked to
Comes.
DOT.
we get somebody in, they're here for 3 or 4 months and they've got these cases that they've started working, and then they come in and they say, here's my stuff.
Yeah.
All them cases go away.
Well, if we subpoena them, then they're,
Well,
they can
yes,
still.
if it's gone to the court level, you're right. But if it's multiple, they've knocked on doors, they've repeatedly, now it's about time to go to court and they walk out, it's pretty much a wash. You're gonna have to start over.
So then would it be a good idea to hire somebody as seasonal, so they know that there's like an end date, so to say, if that's what they desire? But then at the end of the seasonal.
The compliance side of it doesn't have an end date.
It doesn't.
So if you're gonna hire somebody, we need to hire somebody and try to get somebody that's gonna stay on long-term, which just hasn't been the case.
Do you bring it up because you might potentially have a couple candidates?
I don't yet.
Okay.
So, but I bring it up so because from what had been told and explained, there were no more part-time positions. So I was asking, could there be a chance we could bring a part-time officer on? Because I probably could get a part-time officer. But then the code enforcement I'd like to look at. Councilman Warren just brought up something, a very thankless job. The other thing, part of that of having law enforcement do code enforcement is it automatically puts us at odds with a certain percentage of our citizens over grass. And we want to try to keep them on our side when we need them. So That is the other part I probably should have mentioned earlier, but I get it, and we will do whatever the council wants, but if there's a chance to look at something a little bit different, or go back to, a chance to try to find somebody part-time to see if it will work, I think it would relieve, especially right now, without having the full department, relieve a lot of, especially Emily or anybody else's plate.
I don't know if I'm against a part-time code enforcement officer.
Do we have a consensus or?
I wouldn't necessarily be against it at this point, at this juncture.
The only thing is we took away that position when we did the salary changes. And so in the future, it could become a budget issue is my only thing with it.
But if we hire somebody on,
But
say,
does that budget right now come out of the police department? So being shorthanded in the interim,
Right, but I'm just saying if we
We're fine.
decide to do it now, long-term,
Well,
it might create a budget issue.
the thing with the budget, again, like I pointed out with my pay or anything else, if you have part-timers in place, you're not paying overhead, you don't have those benefits, or at least most of those benefits. So depending on what your cost of overhead is, you will be saving that, which might help if there's a increase in those hourly wages. So that would be what I would use to offset that.
John, were you saying something?
I must have lost it.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I think they were just talking about consensus last.
Oh.
So it looks like there's 4 full-time positions right now that it's in the budget, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
For officer positions.
For
five-
full-time.
Five county chiefs.
Right.
So maybe just consensus that we post part-time, full-time and code enforcement position and see what we get.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
my experience with part-time officers is the same. They come and go.
Some of them do. Sometimes we've had some pretty good ones. So
I don't think some of those were choice though.
Yeah. I don't know why they left.
Then,
We'll get it
while you're
posted.
on the posting conversation, I think we need to see about continuing to post for the chief position. Right?
Chief,
And
patrol.
then, the police department Facebook page, is that something you're wanting to reopen so that we're posting from the police department, or do we wanna keep it all under the city?
I'm okay with whatever to cancel. I would like the police department to have one, but I can tell you I'm not a social media guy. I mean, I'd like to hire one that is. But
We can run it for you.
yeah, if you
I
don't
just didn't
mind
know
for
if we
right
needed to
now,
recreate that.
I would like to have it recreated if we can't get it back. So,
And then they would only post what you obviously asked
yeah.
of them to post.
Yeah, Emily's worked great, posted some stuff, we had some stuff came up, she posted one day for us, so it's not on the city page, so. Yeah, we got a good working relationship there, so. Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything else, the council have any questions of me, or?
Alright.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Third party policy, I know that we've skipped this one a few times, but we've got Tom here tonight.
No, I apologize. I saw that this was put together by Quentin in my office, who's of council. And I think it's spin off of what,
I looked it over and I thought it was fine. I mean, I kind of took a quick read through it before I came today and I thought it looked pretty good. I mean, front and back, simple, one page. I don't even know where it's at.
so
You're talking about this.
Yeah, that third party policy is just, it just talks about having like other people at work.
Yeah.
Where, I know I had it.
Is that what you're talking about?
Or-
So you don't need to take action on this tonight, but, at least read over it. And then we could have it as an action item at the next. All you're gonna need is consensus of the council to have this incorporated into the city employee handbook. At such section 2.8. Okay?
And how do we place that in? Is that something that you do, just edit it?
Mhm.
Okay,
So you just need a consensus of council.
That's all you're gonna need.
All right, do we have a consensus? We'll run through
Yeah, like I said, I read through it
Sure.
and
I say
go
for it.
Ron,
I got no
John?
problem with it.
Okay,
There you are.
very good.
But I will ask this much. Not that I think we're in that position, but what and how do we feel about a time span for newborns?
Mm,
Because some of those mothers, they take their time off. And I don't even know how much time we give off.
it's
I'd have to
Probably
read.
6 weeks.
They
typically.
take their time off. Some of them still
Six to
need
8
some
weeks
time.
typically. But the state, I know, to your question, I know the state gives you 6 months to have your child with you in office.
I mean, obviously that doesn't work for our maintenance department,
Does this have a
Doesn't work
clause in
well
there
for the
like
chief.
Holly's had that it's,
police department.
What, the emergency?
yeah.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah, for
Um,
this says it's
under number 3,
emergency.
general policy, the second bullet point, it says emergency childcare situations where no other options available. But then on the back, it says visits should be brief, generally lasting no more than 1 or 2 hours. I mean, that gives room for emergency situation where if you're, you
So
know,
maybe if it comes up, then we come to council and ask for permission.
well, I think it's supervisor.
Yeah, I think the department head would.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
saying
talking
for-
about like newborn stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
for
I-
newborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where in circumstances that 6 weeks off, if they take that 6 weeks, or maybe they can't afford to take 6 weeks, but they can't afford daycare right off. So do we allow
Infants in the workspace.
for a period of time? Again, like I said, it doesn't really work for police officers. It doesn't work for maintenance. So we're really just talking about a handful of people in the
Office staff.
office.
I don't think I would have a problem with it. I mean, just as long as they're not around the baby and the mother, just as long as they're not around some kind of hazardous material.
okay, so add that into this.
And it-
I would say
And
on
it would be
on a-
approval, on approval basis.
We could,
Per
we could
case
leave it
basis or
as,
something like
Yeah,
that.
I think we can leave it as and then revisit it
yeah.
if
Like I
needed.
say, I don't think we have any issues with that right now. So
No,
With that, we'll move on to the Osage County Herald. Looks like we've got a couple of the lads.
I don't know if everybody looked at the FYI folder. There were a couple of examples of what those ads look like, which I thought were very beneficial. And which paper are these going in? I mean, I know which paper, but when are they going? Oh, for the sports preview and booster page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we typically do it,
Um,
for both
And it's $3.15. Is that what I'm reading here?
total, yeah.
Total.
For both.
I would move that we run the sports ads in the Osage County Chronicle for the amount of $315.
Motion's been made by John, then second by Ron. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All in favor, motion carried. I had this in the middle of my packet, but we don't have another one yet. We don't have another one, right?
No, that was for the one we already had.
Okay.
The next item, the council devices, we
Yes.
have received 2 additional Chromebook laptop, what were they? I can't remember now. Chromebooks, that we have for council, which I think will be enough for everyone to have one. And then I believe Holly had a question about possibly getting a cell phone.
so, and the reason why I ask is because, and I need to watch my words, so excuse me if I stutter. I had a constituent, or there was a constituent that called the city office that wanted to speak to me directly. And they gave me the message and I was hesitant to reach out from my personal phone. But I went ahead anyways, called her, talked to her. She had a pretty legitimate complaint, which I'm not gonna speak of, but it's just gonna change my behavior moving forward. Then I got a phone call, I think it was at 6:50 in the morning, which it was on silent, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But she didn't leave a message, and I didn't return the calls because I figured if she wanted me to call her back, she'd leave me a message. So but I was thinking about getting a house phone, but anybody can call my house phone too at 6:50 in the morning or midnight if they'd like. So I didn't know I wanted to know what council thought of getting some cheap flip phones for the council members. To have something separate, the constituents can reach out to us. Maybe they can be shut off during certain times or be open during certain times or something. I don't know. It was just something that I thought of, and if it gets shot down, I'll probably just end up getting a house phone. And honestly, I'll probably, if I end up getting a house phone, I'll probably just give you that number so you can just preemptively give them my house phone number so they can call me. But
Does anybody on council have any take?
I don't necessarily disagree with her, because, I mean, Chad brought up the point, and even Phil, you know, if something happens, anything city related that I use my personal phone can now be confiscated for that reason. So I think that is just another level of protection for the council members.
Anything that happens outside of this meeting, any conversations you have, you're not having as a council member, you're a citizen.
That part is true too.
Yeah, but if a citizen calls me and, you know, is complaining about the pool,
Yep, you're a citizen at that point.
and you have to kind of talk them
Then
down.
you have to bring it here and then it goes on open record.
well, I understand that, but I mean, if there's text messages or whatever that are sent to our personal phones, those can all be requested through the Open Records Act, can they not?
Only if you open it here.
If you
Right.
do it here
They
in
can subpoena
in
it.
this room, yes, it's an open record.
Otherwise, you can send
You
the
can print-
screenshots
you
to
can-
the city phone.
Yep,
And then she can print them
screenshot,
off.
print it off, whatever,
Because, yeah.
as
I'll
long
send
as
it
you
to
don't bring it
I mean,
to a
I don't
meeting.
understand, I mean, I haven't taken the Cora and,
Yeah.
Open Records Act training and stuff, we're doing that in October, and we'll go to the annual conference.
I don't care to have an additional phone because it'll sit at my house all the time anyways.
Sure.
And I won't take it anywhere. So 6 years, I bet I've had 3 people actually call me or text me. My wife, on the other hand, has probably had about 40 people.
Right.
But my opinion is if they really need to get a hold of me, they're gonna call Emily. If I really need to call him back, I can come and sit here and pick up the phone and call from here. If I don't want iPhone involved.
I would disagree with that either. I just wasn't sure. Just go
Or
like you're
give me
talking
an
about
address and I'll go
computers,
knock on their door and say, hey, what's up?
You know, because I mean, we're kind of talking about like computers and emails and stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's a whole different ballgame. That's all open record because that is open discussions and all that. So
That's why I encourage, I don't keep my cell phones here. You know, just because if you do open something in your phone, they can request what you're looking at on your phone.
Right.
At that point, it can be brought out. As far as I understand, from what I've done with talking with the league and stuff. And so that's why I don't keep mine on the table, so I don't compromise mine.
Speaking of the league, I work right beside the building.
Nice.
Andy.
No.
No.
Barbie, did you have an input on it, or?
I don't want a phone, that's for sure. I mean,
I think it's probably an unnecessary expense in the city.
yeah,
Sure, that makes sense.
Alright. Was there anything else on that? Then we move on. Application waiver update.
In our current employee packet, it has a form that is similar to this. For officers, this is kind of more straightforward, I guess, where it's a release that we can call the agency that they worked for prior and they list the information and sign it.
So it would just be like just an updated to what we currently
This is
have.
just something I put together,
Yeah.
pursuant to KSA 754379. The form that you have would get the same information, it's a lot more involved. This is much more concisely written. So it's your call. It's just a suggested alternative.
And this just go with a,
They'll
out to
just go
anybody
to
that does
employee
an application.
So just a consensus to add it to the
Fine with me.
application process.
Consensus from this?
Yeah, I
Okay
agree.
with it, yeah.
So the agency from which we need the information would have to be listed?
Yeah.
Okay,
Or agencies.
right,
That's why there's a lot of blanks there.
It's like if you work for Topeka and left and we're coming down here to apply, you can list Topeka or Shawnee County or Rossville or Silver Lake Police Department.
So if they don't want you to call somewhere, they don't have to list it. It's not a, they didn't authorize that one. It's just whichever ones they list on there.
However, if we run a C-Post report, we can find out all the agencies they've worked at, and if they left somebody off the list, that'll be a problem.
Yeah, you can fill it in. You can get that information from C-Post, fill this in, and then have them sign it. And that way, the applicant's signature is provided to the agency and they see, well, they gave a release. Okay,
yeah, I just have concerns about them just kind of leaving an agency off the list, kind of on purpose.
This is already in the application. This is just a simplified version of it. They're just changing it.
and again, when you contact C-Post, like the chief said, he will contact C-Post on any officer applicant to see where they've been.
But
And
this is all employees, not
and
just,
this
One
is,
just says
Police
police
department.
department.
this is
it does.
for a police
I'm sorry,
department. This one is strictly for law enforcement.
my mistake.
So, I mean, this is one, if you've got a candidate that you're interested in, we can go ahead and get a hold of C-Post and we can list the agencies, list the addresses, and if the applicant wants to interview, they're gonna sign this so that we can get a hold of them ahead of time.
I agree. Include, it, simplify it.
Were you in consensus, Holly?
I don't know.
I mean, you do understand we already requested that same information from them?
Right, so why do we need to change the form?
It's a simplified
Just
form.
making it simpler, putting it all on one.
But on the previous form, there was no agency and address list.
Well, this gives you at least the ability to take this and send one page to the agency that you're requesting the information from. Okay?
Hmm.
The form that Emily has is multiple pages. And it's a little bit harder to get at the meat of the nut, so to speak, if you're on the other end of this receiving. This is a simple form. Most agencies that receive it are gonna say, oh, we know what this is.
Okay, so the agencies that would be listed here, would the city clerk be choosing the agencies that need to be listed?
Chief would run it through C-Post and he would put them on there.
It's everywhere they've worked previously.
Every agency that they've worked previously.
Right,
just-
you understand that, right, Chief?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Just as long as an agency doesn't get left out.
Do I leave the
Well,
old
that-
form in there as a pull and we add this one, or pull the other one and add this one?
I would just have them fill them both out.
Okay,
It may be redundant, but
Only send off the one.
yeah, this is the easiest one for you to send off to your peers.
okay. So the others available.
Yeah.
Anything off agenda or follow-up?
I was gonna mention with Dustin and stuff, I forgot. I was gonna ask him how the signs look and if they've gotten any of them put up. The signs that we bought, they're like 20 mph, and no
Yeah.
parking, handicap signs and stuff. Emily sent me a message in the last week, I think it was, or whatever. I made arrangements with Dustin. I swung by and picked them up, and they are in down at the maintenance shop. I don't know if they started putting any of them up.
I don't think they've gotten to them, but they,
So
Appreciate you helping with that.
it was like 2 miles down the road and
Yeah,
a
but
loop,
still,
you know,
appreciate it.
so. No biggie.
Anything else off agenda?
I am curious about, I read a little bit, I'm done with those. I read a little bit on the rec board, treasurer being brought over and Mike being the treasurer. Has he completely taken over books for the rec commission yet?
Not yet.
no, not until I get an audit completed.
Okay. I'm curious about the possibility of the school board treasurer taking over for that position, since the transition has not been fruitful or peaceful, I'm not sure. And I wanted kind of your thoughts on that, Mr. Barnes.
Wasn't it established by the city as a rec commission?
You said, was it established by the city? I have no idea.
I'd have to go back and see if it was the school board and city that put the rec commission together. But the statute that I have read requires that the rec commission treasurer be the city treasurer.
Oh, I thought it said the city treasurer or the school treasurer, the school board treasurer.
Well, if it was the city that sponsored it, it's the city treasurer. If the school board didn't sponsor it. I mean, is the rec commission using any of the school facilities? No.
Not anymore. I don't think since Ron's passed, I don't think they do basketball
The
anymore.
school is using our facilities.
Yeah.
Cause I had talked to the school board treasurer and I thought she had stated, Faith Fleury, I thought she had stated that, the rec in fact did use, or has used, some of the school board facilities, but I may be
I
mistaken.
think they have in the past, but I don't know.
Years ago.
I don't know if they still do.
Again, a lot of this stuff predates me because I've only been here, 2 years now? And I know that under the statute, it can be, the school board and the rec commission can get together to establish recreational activities within the county or within the school board
Sure.
area. And they utilize the school facilities like adult basketball, adult volleyball,
Right,
those sort of things.
right.
Um,
It was just something that I kind of thought of, and I can foresee some maybe possibilities, possibly some kind of, good possibilities for recreation, just, adult basketball and such. I don't know.
Let me check into it again. School board.
I'm pretty sure the rec commission was to be adopted by the city, and I can't remember if that was in 94 when everything, when it was all redone, or was it 2014 the latest?
I have no idea.
I mean, we just had it
If that
redone.
happened, then would the county tax money for rec go through the school? Or then would there be two hands of the
Well,
button
let's
to-
just answer this question first. Can the school board treasurer be the rec commission treasurer?
Dig later if we need to.
I'll report back to you in the next council meeting.
I don't know if what Tom brought to us was just state statute, or if that was our actual ordinance on the rec commission that we read, but it stated in that it was the city treasurer was to be the treasurer for that.
Right,
And my understanding is that this was a rec commission established by the city.
That's what I'm sure that's what we read past.
I'm just curious the possibilities.
Yeah,
We'll look into it.
I'll explore.
Sweet. Anything else off agenda, follow?
Mm-mm.
Notes and FYI, was there anything,
Just the,
is it just?
Herald,
Oh, the Herald stuff, okay.
Yeah, rendering.
Alrighty, the bills,
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
motion,
That we look at the bills.
motion made by Ron, second by Bob, any further discussion?
Just a real quick question, is this the format we're gonna get?
No, we're in the process of switching, the systems, and so that's the best that we can do for today.
Okay, but in talking with some of them earlier,
I
I think
I like
several of
that
the councilmen.
Oh, you like that?
Council
I
like this
think, yeah,
format.
the way that you, I mean, I think I like it this way.
It's easier to look through.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what it took to create it or anything, so I
don't know, but
will
this is
find
a
out.
lot easier to look at.
Okay,
Do we still need the physical checks to,
I was gonna say, did we,
to
we have
sign?
the checks to sign the,
Checks for a while, so
yeah,
it's been the steps.
Or
Been the
this,
steps.
not recently. No,
I don't know.
after it was brought up into discussion, why we
it's been
weren't seeing the
checked, we
checks.
haven't been,
It's been the checks the last
unless it was
three,
a,
4 meetings
something
at
that's
least.
pre-approved.
Yeah,
okay, so is there a way to include a paper like that into there?
I think so, I assume he did it this time, that it's, I'll find out, but if that's easy to do and it wasn't, then
Okay,
yeah, we'll start doing that.
alright, any further discussion on the motion for approving or looking at the bills? Alright, all in favor, or, I'm sorry, all in favor? Alright, all in favor, motion carried. Didn't wait so long, I forgot what I was doing. Extension request. Looks like there's 3 of them tonight.
I move we accept all the extension requests.
Motion made by Chad,
Second.
second by Holly, any further discussion? All those in favor? Sorry, I didn't see who. All in favor? There's nothing else.
Move that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by, John, second by Ron.